You've been thinking about moving to Vail, Arizona. You've probably heard all the wonderful reasons why everyone's currently moving there. But today we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of why you shouldn't move to Vail unless you can handle these 5 facts. Welcome back, or if you're new to this channel and you want to learn everything from A to Z about living in Tucson, AZ, then click subscribe and tap that bell for notifications so you can be the first to learn about the current market in Tucson, Arizona. Hi, I'm Jennifer Smith, and this is my husband,
Dustin Smith.
And we've helped hundreds of people just like you move to
and from
Tucson, Arizona. So whether you're moving in 12 days, 12 weeks, 12 months, we got you covered. Give us a call, shoot us a text or an email, and let us help you make that smooth move to Tucson, Arizona. All right, fact number 1, the amount of rapid growth that Vail has seen over the last several years. So Vail's always been popular for different reasons, but not to the popularity that it is right now. Just since about 2015 and on, we have seen such exponential growth in the Vail area.
Yeah, it's been crazy. In fact, like 20 years ago, there weren't really any big subdivisions in the Vail area. It was a very rural community.
Yeah.
People would come out here for riding horses, to have a little bit of extra space.
Bring their toys.
Yeah, ATVs and stuff. And then, yeah, later on, side-by-sides. I know those are really popular right now.
And to be away from like the busyness of the city, because I mean, although Tucson isn't as big of a city as Phoenix, there's still, you know, a lot of traffic, just a lot of movement. So Vail was very popular just for getting away from some of that and getting to see the beautiful stars and everything at night.
Yeah, the subdivisions have a total different feel to them now. So, you know, instead of those more spread out homes, it's a little more, you know, touch your neighbor in a lot of parts of Vail now. And
yeah,
that's what most of the growth in Vail looks like now.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much anywhere from down like Corona de Tucson, which is going to be south end of Vail, all the way up towards Saguaro National Park. You get into like Rock and Cay before you get to that. You know, we're in Saguaro National Park right now, and it's gorgeous and it's quiet and it's peaceful, but you get into some of those big tract home, you know, master planned subdivisions that they're building right now with all the different builders. And like he said, I mean, you can reach out and almost touch your neighbor. So you just don't have that same space that people originally came out to Vail for.
And that's a great point about mentioning like Corona de Tucson versus the other part of Vail.
Yeah.
Technically, they're both Vail, but Corona de Tucson feels like a different world. In fact, Corona de Tucson's touching a whole different mountain range.
Yes.
So out here, we're up against the Rincons. Corona de Tucson's going to be at the Santa Rita Mountains, and they look a little bit different, but still a lot of beauty in both of them. We got a lot more saguaros over here, and they're pretty close to Mount Wrightson, which is actually the tallest peak in southern Arizona, or at least in the Tucson area.
Definitely. And, you know, it's not to say that you can't still find land out here. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can find land, you can build, you can find properties that have acreage. It's just that because of the growth, there's more of those tract home subdivisions. So if that's what you're looking for, great. Vail's probably for you. If you're still wanting to find that land, you can find it. Just a little harder to find now. Not as many properties on the market right now with the inventory being so low. So you might not find exactly what you're looking for.
And the best stuff moves quick.
It does.
All right. So our second consideration, if you're looking out to move to Vail, something that you want to be able to handle is the traffic. Now, people all over Vail will talk about this.
Oh my gosh.
Or if you join a social media platform that's talking
Next
about
door.
Vail, you will see things multiple times every week. So, you know, we talked about Vail used to be more of a rural community, and the roads still kind of have that old infrastructure to them, and
Absolutely.
they're not quite equipped for all the development that's going in. So if you're traveling in those morning times, before school, after school, you're going to see a lot of congestion. And if there's an accident, you might flat out have to go a different route and hope for the best that not everybody's trying to go the same direction at the same time as you.
Absolutely. And so, you know, with traffic being a big consideration, it's not specific just to Vail. Of course, there's traffic all throughout Tucson because we don't really have those same like freeway systems like Phoenix does to get you from one side to the other. So you have a lot of those surface streets, traffic lights. So if you have to commute from Vail to Tucson, the traffic is already bad enough in Vail with all the rapid growth that now you have to add that to your commute time that you would generally have through the Tucson area. So if you're going towards like the base, or you have to go to downtown or U of A or any of the hospitals, you're going to have a lot more traffic, especially if you're leaving during those popular hours in Vail. You know, the school district brings a lot of people, so you're going to have a lot of the traffic that's going to the schools in the morning. And you know, if there's an accident with that one, you know, single lane traffic, you really could get backed up, and it could take you an hour to get to work.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, on the plus side of that, or actually could be a downside depending on when you get here, the main road that goes out to the Vail area from the city of Tucson is Old Spanish Trail. And there's plans to widen that over the next couple of years. In fact, the new master plan subdivision, Rock and K, is helping foot a big part of the bill for widening that road. But of course, I mean, that's going to be a big project in construction, which is going to slow things down for
Even
a little
more.
while too. So eventually that infrastructure will be here. They're going to be adding more stoplights to, you know, Old Spanish Trail. So, you know, again, part of that rapid growth, that development, if that's hard for you to handle, Vail may not be the spot for you.
All right, fact number 3, we're actually going to combine into 2 points right here. And that's because we've touched on this in a couple of our other videos, and it's not necessarily specific to Vail, but kind of leads us into talking more about some of the things that may not interest you in Vail, right? So the fact number 3 is the wildlife and weather. Wildlife, because Vail really features more of that open desert space, and we're right up against the Rincon Mountains, it tends to bring more wildlife. You know, you're gonna see a lot of like scorpions, snakes, javelina, which like to get into your trash and destroy gardens. You're gonna see jackrabbits, and some of this, like, personally, I like the wildlife, so that doesn't bother me. But if you have like small children, small dogs, really like the owls, the coyotes, some of that stuff can be a little more dangerous. You know, not that you have to worry about it too much, but the owls do like small dogs.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the jokes out here is, you know, because the desert's a harsh environment, everything out here has evolved to try to kill you. So everything's got thorns, everything's got poison. I mean, not necessarily true, but it does help to research and kind of understand what the different animals are out here and how they behave, you know. I know coyotes are pretty much everywhere over the western United States and southern United States now. So a lot of people are familiar with those. You know, rattlesnakes, there's a lot of reptiles or snakes out there that kind of mimic rattlesnakes as far as their behavior goes and some of their patterns. So being able to identify those and know what they're going to do too. I mean, except for like the sidewinders, most snakes aren't going to like act aggressive and start scooting right towards you. Most of them are they're gonna try to hide from you.
Yeah,
but you don't want to step on them too. So you have to train yourself to, you know, be careful about stuff like that.
Yeah, especially if you're out hiking. I mean, Vail is beautiful. There's a lot of outdoor recreation. So especially like as it starts warming up, just being more mindful that you need to watch for the rattlesnakes and coyotes and occasionally bobcats and mountain lions. You'll definitely see them more in this area than you would, you know, in Tucson.
Yeah, you know, a family of javelina might look cute, but don't go try to pet the babies.
Definitely not.
No, they've got teeth.
Yeah, the mamas are very protective.
And don't go hiking by yourself because, you know, mountain lions may typically stay away from you, but if you're by yourself, they may get brave. It happens every once in a while. There's some, you know, great YouTube videos about, you know, warding off a mountain lion.
Make sure you bring somebody slower with you. No, I'm kidding. Don't. But also, you know, the weather. So Vail is generally a couple degrees cooler than Tucson because we have the higher elevation out here. So while that's nice, it can get pretty hot out here, and there's not really a lot of, you know, shade and the different trees and everything like you'll see in the Tucson city limits that, you know, you can kind of hide from the sun a little bit. Vail's very wide open in that sense.
It's getting hot right now, and we've barely brushed the surface. We're not even quite summer yet.
Yeah, we're in May right now. It's 97 degrees currently. We're sweating, we're hot. Just something to consider. All right, that takes us into fact number 4, and that is there is a lack of indoor activities and amenities in the Vail area. So if you're trying to cool down from, you know, these 100 plus days and 110 plus days sometimes here in Vail. There's not really a lot of options. There's great, outdoor recreation, but I mean, really the one thing I can think of off the top of my head for indoor cooling down is Colossal Cave, which is a cool 70 degrees year round.
Oh yeah, and I mean, you'll get burn out on that pretty quick.
Yeah.
They do have different tours on there, but I think you can only do so much there. So you'll appreciate it, you'll love it, you'll probably go more than once, but it won't be something that you get to do all summer long.
Yeah, and if you like to read, they did over the last couple of years build a library off of Marianne Cleveland, so there's that. But I mean, other than that, there's not really any indoor recreation, no shopping malls close by, so you're going to find yourself driving 20 to 30 minutes if you're looking for indoor recreation. Same with amenities. Now, because of the rapid growth that we've had in Vail over the last several years, there is a large Safeway in the area. There's, banks, dentists, more restaurant options and fast food options, all within 5 to 10 minutes, depending on where you're at in Vail.
Yeah, but really a overall lack of retail. And there's a Walmart over in the Rita Ranch area, but depending on what part of Vail you're in, that's still 15 minutes away.
Yeah, Costco is going to be, a good 20, 30 minute trek depending on where you are. They are building a Home Depot in Rita Ranch. And so there's a lot of growth there right now, which depending on where you are, you could be 5 minutes from Rita Ranch. You could be, 15, 20 minutes from Rita Ranch.
Oh, there's a whole commercial strip over off of Old Vail Road in Rita Ranch. Well, it offers some good jobs right now, and I think they'll just keep growing in the future.
But if you're looking for an area in Tucson to move to that you can walk or bike to close amenities, Vail may not be the right place for you. All right, and that brings us to our last fact, and that is that there is flooding in Vail. So while you may not have to worry about that year round,
or even every year.
Right. It's definitely something to take into consideration if you're looking to move to the Vail area. There are parts of Vail that have several washes that run through. Now, over the years with the rapid growth and them, adding streets that go through, like, now Old Vail connects to Valencia, which goes out to Houghton. So it's a quicker way to get into the Rita Ranch area, just an alternative route than what we had previously, which is nice. So that mitigated some of the flooding in that area, but there's still quite a few places that you're going to go, especially if you're looking for those properties that are more out on land and you can't reach out and touch your neighbor. That's really when you're going to get into some areas that will have some dips and whatnot that tend to flood when we get our good monsoons, which generally run July to about September.
Yeah, all the stuff that gets closest to the monument it has a little more problems because, all the water rushes off the mountain and it keeps going long after the rain. So if we get a good monsoon and you're in one of those areas, it could be a couple days before you can leave your house. In fact, we had a good friend of ours that lived all the way at the end of Camino Loma Alta, all the way to the north, and just a beautiful area to live.
Oh, absolutely gorgeous.
One day, we were going to go visit him and he's like, we're stuck back here. Figure out how to get us beer. And, we pulled up just to go check it out. And sure enough, 2 days not being able to drive back there. There was actually coverts and everything. The water flooded over that. A neighborhood nearby, they had a walking bridge just for when they had flooding. The flooding was so bad, it took out their walking bridge too, and they were completely isolated.
Yeah, so while that won't happen every single time that it rains, we do get those monsoons, which are known for hitting very hard and very fast. So areas in Vail that sit a little bit lower, or, you might not necessarily be in a floodplain where you need flood insurance at your house, you could find yourself stuck there and stepping into a foot or two of water when you come out on your property. Yeah,
don't do it if you're not sure. Pima County created an idiot motorist law a couple of years ago. And if you end up going to get stuck in a wash and you need rescuing, they're going to add insult to injury on there. So just play it safe. Don't get yourself in trouble. Even if you survive, you'll still be embarrassed.
Absolutely. And actually, that reminds me, my parents are in an area in Vail, the house that I grew up in, which it's acre lots and it is a subdivision with an HOA, but you have a little more space between you and your neighbors. But the way that their house was built, their driveway actually comes down towards the house. And in some of those bad monsoons they've gotten, it has actually almost flooded into their garage. So we've had spots where we have gotten out of our car, after a bad storm coming home from Phoenix and jumped down into above our ankle water. So it's just really something to look into, research, ask the seller about if you're looking to buy a house in Vail.
And because these floods come and go so infrequently, you could live in a house for years and not notice that you have a problem until one of those great monsoons comes through.
Exactly.
So yeah, watch out for flooding.
Yeah. All right, so thank you for sticking around with us today as we got into the nitty-gritty reasons why you may not want to move to Vail, but overall, Vail is a beautiful place. We grew up there, so if you have any questions about the area, we would love to answer them for you. Drop anything you have about the Vail area in the comments below. And if you or anyone you know is thinking about moving to or from Vail or Tucson, Arizona, give us a call, shoot us a text or an email. Let us help you make that smooth move. And if you could, give us a like. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and tap that bell for notifications so we can keep you updated on the current market in Tucson, Arizona.
Plan accordingly, ask lots of questions, and we'll see you next time.